shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who is fearless. A young loner on a crusade to champion the cause in a world of reckless automobiles. These are my motovlogs.
What's up, YouTube? This is your boy Chris, out on the Gold Wing. And today I'm showing about 46 degrees on the air temp in front of the bike. I'm showing about 48 degrees sitting in the cockpit. It's a chilly day today, y'all, but I'm warm. I'm snug like a bug in a rug, cause I ain't no thug. Today I'm wearing my Centurion one-piece textile outer suit. Underneath, I have the hot wired heated gear. I don't have it on at the current time because I actually feel perfectly normal right about now. But when you're gonna get out here and ride, when it's cold, you wanna make sure you have on the right gear, the right gloves. You wanna make sure that all of your skin is covered. You don't wanna get out here and get pneumonia. So today, in this video, I'm just out here playing around on the Gold Wing. Just the other day, I installed the K&N air filter inside of the bike, and I noticed that the bike sounds a little bit more aggressive. I noticed that it got a little bit more roar to it. You know, I love the way the K&N filter is making the Gold Wing sound. You can probably hear it a little bit when I give it a little gas. Can you hear it there a little bit there? Don't crank the throttle, Chris. Don't crank the throttle. Remember your motorcycle safety videos. Oh yeah. Got that K&N working, y'all. Got that engine breathing good. But just the other day, I put up a video on my routine maintenance. I did the air filter and I changed out the plugs. Well, shortly after I put up that video, I started getting some comments about correcting what I was doing wrong. I didn't, according to some of my viewers, I didn't use anti-seize. I didn't put anti-seize around the thread of the plugs. And I started getting these comments about whenever I do a spark plug job, whenever I change spark plugs, that I need to use anti-seize around the threads. So I have a question for my viewers that's watching this video. Why is it that every time that I do a how-to video, a maintenance video, an instructional video, somebody out there that watches always tries to correct me as if I'm doing it wrong? It never fails. I mean, I can see certain people do a video or how-to video, an instructional video, and they get comments like, well done, a good job, you know, nothing but admiration. But when your boy Chris do a video, I notice that people they want to correct me as if I'm doing it wrong, as if I don't know what I'm doing, as if I'm just out here making videos and I'm not putting in the work. I don't understand what I'm doing. It never fails. I noticed, why is that? Maybe some of you guys could chime in on this video and tell me, why is it that someone is always trying to correct me? And here's my thoughts. If you are so smart, why don't you start a YouTube channel and why don't you make some videos? But they don't do that. They wait for me to put up a video, and then all of a sudden I start getting all these corrections, or you need to do it this way, or you need to do it that way. When it comes down to maintenance on my bike and instructional videos or how-to video, I'm showing you guys what I do. You do what works best for you. I'm showing what works best for me. So I wasn't shocked that I started getting these comments about I need to use anti-seize on the threads. They tried to make it seem like I guess I don't know what I'm doing. And if I didn't know what I was doing, then why would I be making the video? And my question to you is, if you are so smart, why don't you start making some videos and showing people how to do things, how to build, how to do maintenance, how to do how-tos? But they don't do that. They'll wait for me to make a video, and then the next thing, they're trying to tell me that I'm not doing something right. So that leads me to my next topic. Well, that leads me to the next thing I want to talk about, which is the anti-seize on the plugs. Now, back in the day, because engines and spark plugs have came a long way since years ago. Back in the day, you probably needed to put anti-seize on the spark plugs. But nowadays, the spark plugs most of the spark plugs nowadays are coated with a coating. And that coating acts basically like anti-seize. It prevents corrosion and rust, and it prevents the spark plug from getting seized inside of the engine. As a matter of fact, NGK actually says do not put anti-seize on their spark plugs. So I'm gonna play a little clip and let you guys hear about the NGK spark plug. Check it out.
This edition of Counterintelligence is sponsored by NGK, manufacturers of spark plugs, wire sets, and ignition coils. Visit ngksparkplugs.com for more information.
Hi, I'm Mark Phillips, the editor of Counterman, and we have Andrew Markell, the editor of Break and Front End, here today. We have a question to Andrew, and it regards anti-seize, and that is, when should you recommend anti-seize to a customer who is replacing spark plugs?
There's actually two types of spark plugs, ones that use anti-seize and ones that don't. If you see a spark plug that has a nice chrome type finish on the threads that's very silver-like, don't use anti-seize on there. Those are already treated to deal with the head, even if it's aluminum or steel, and they don't need any anti-seize on them at all. In fact, if you use anti-seize, you could be damaging the head and also the spark plug itself, because you'll be completely throwing off the torque specs. So a technician could be tightening it down to 65 foot-pounds, but with the anti-seize, they could be all the way up to 85 foot-pounds, and the spark plug could snap or damage the threads in the head. If you get a spark plug that has a black oxide finish, yes, you can use anti-seize, but don't use too much.
Do you think that's something that happens often in the bays, that they put anti-seize on when they shouldn't?
Yes, it happens quite a bit, and it's an education thing that technicians have to realize that spark plug has to go in there clean, and the manufacturer of the plug has already put a treatment on there to make sure that it seals, stays torqued, and can actually come out in 100,000 miles.
And I'm going with what NGK has recommended. NGK recommend that you do not put anti-seize on their plugs. The NGK are Honda's OEM spark plug. That's what comes from the manufacturer. When you buy the Gold Wing, it's NGK plugs. NGK recommends that you do not put anti-seize on their plugs. So you have these people that sit back and watch my videos and always criticize what I do, how I do it, when I do it, I'm not doing it right. They will tell you in the comments that basically I'm incompetent. And some of you may say, well, Chris, there's nothing wrong with, with people making suggestions on something you should do when you're working on a project. And I understand that. But if I'm not asking for all the suggestions, then where are they coming from? It seems like every time I make a video, somebody want to tell me that I'm doing it wrong. Most of the times, and what some of you may not know, is I'm looking right at the book before I even make the video. So I'm not going to intentionally give you some wrong information. Now, sometimes I may not always have a book to refer. I may not have a book to refer to. It may be something I know just, through my knowledge. But lots of times I'm looking right at the book before I give you the numbers or before I give you the figures. So I'm not going to intentionally tell anybody anything wrong on my page. So like I said before, take what you can take from the video. If you can learn something from it, then take from that. If it doesn't apply to you, then it doesn't apply to you. Every video that I make may not apply to you, but it may help someone. But it just seems like every time I make a video, somebody's trying to tell me that I'm basically doing something wrong. Even though I'm looking right at the book before I tell you or show you what it is I'm doing. So it's just mind-boggling to me that every time I make a video, somebody wants to tell me that I'm not doing something right. And I just feel like if you are so smart and you know so much, why don't you start making some videos? Why don't you create your own YouTube channel? And we'll watch your videos. But you're not going to do that, are you? You'd rather criticize what I do. And it just never fails. I mean, it's always been going on. A lot of times I don't address that issue. But it's like it's a never-ending battle. And I know people gonna always have some suggestions. I don't have a problem with that, but certain people want to make it seem like I'm doing the job wrong. I'm not gonna tell you anything wrong. NGK has said do not put anti-seize on their plugs.
NGK does not recommend the use of anti-seize compounds. It has been found that when anti-seize is used, due to its lubrication qualities, torque value is affected and the potential for over-tightening is increased. All NGK spark plugs are treated with corrosion-resistant plating and are installed as original equipment dry from the factory. Using a torque wrench whenever possible and following the recommended torque specifications found in vehicle service manuals or in the back of the NGK spark plugs catalog.
Because like I said, most of the times I'm looking right at the book. Just like when I stated about a gap in the spark plug between 1.0 and 1.1 millimeter. And I said millimeter. I didn't say inches. Somebody come right back and said, well, I thought you supposed to gap them at these numbers in inches. It's the same thing. Those numbers, the conversion is the same. I don't get it, man. And it's just ongoing. So the question that I have to my viewers is, why do people do that? Help me to understand. Help me to understand what it is I don't understand. Why is it that every time I make an instructional video or how-to video, there's somebody out there that's going to tell me that I'm doing something wrong? I mean, I don't get it, man. Like I said, maybe they just want to make themselves seem smart, or maybe they just want to make it seem like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. But again, I'm not going to put any videos out there showing you how I do a certain job if I didn't know what I was doing. And if you are so smart, then I think you should start a YouTube channel and you should show us how to do it, and we'll watch your videos. I don't know, man. I'm just out here rambling on the gold wing. It feels good, y'all. We had a cold snap to come through here the other day. It was probably, man, it was in the teens. And today it's in the 40s. So it feels a lot better in the 40s than it does in the teens. Not a lot of motorcycle riding going on. A lot of you will be putting your bike up for the winter. A lot of you will be shutting down. Some of you have probably already shut down. You know, I have a few friends that say if it's 50 below, they won't go. So, you know, I say that if you buy the right gear, you can continue to extend your riding season. You don't have to shut it down. You know, I have a lot of people ask me, how do you get out there and ride? It is cold out. Well, if you have on the right gear, you can ride. If you just get on your motorcycle wearing jeans and a shirt, you're gonna catch pneumonia. You'll freeze to death. So you gotta have on the right gear. I'll be doing some later videos on how I dress when it's cold out, some of the gear that I have, some of the things that I put on to extend my winter riding season. I don't plan on shutting it down, y'all. I know some of you say you're gonna shut it down for the winter, and I do understand, depending on where you live, the weather may not be conducive to riding. It may snow, it may rain, it may freeze. So I do understand, but long as it's not snow and ice, I plan on riding. As long as it's not snow and ice, I'm gonna keep it on the road, y'all. So I'm just out here cruising, out here rambling, testing out this K&N. See how she sound. Oh yeah, she sound good. She feel good, y'all. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. And when it's time for a new filter, I may put me a brand new K&N filter back in here. I don't know. The jury's still out, but I'll definitely keep you guys posted. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. If you guys have any questions or any comments, feel free to put it down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. This is your boy Chris, out on the Gold Wing. Out on the Gold Wing. The most luxurious motorcycle in the world, hands down. And I will, as always, I will talk to you guys later. See ya.
Installing spark plugs. Now, one word on the use of anti-seize or never seize on the threads. It used to be common, especially when the aluminum heads on these engines first came out way back when, that we'd like to put a little dab of anti-seize on there to help to keep the plug from seizing in the head and making life more difficult when it was time to remove it later. Today's plugs, for the most part, are made with a different material in the shell that resists corrosion. So using anti-seize or never seize is not necessary and not recommended by the makers of the plugs. There have been cases where too much anti-seize has actually caused the plug to not be able to ground properly, results in misfires. Also, it can't pass the heat like it's supposed to. That results in damage to the plug and premature failure and could lead to engine problems due to pre-ignition and detonation. So, word to the wise, if it doesn't specifically tell you to use anti-seize in the OEM service information, that we're all looking that up, right? Then don't. Just stay away from it. You'll find that most of the time it's not necessary.